was Anwar. Open it up to drilling, am I right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think Mitch McConnell loved being able to give it to her because he's been making that fight for a couple decades as well. This is an old fight about whether or not we can responsibly drill for oil in America. We have answered that question long ago, Stuart. We drill for our natural resources in the most environmentally safe way on the planet. And America is ready and loving this energy resurgence we're having in this country.
Now, Matt, you're a conservative kind of guy, and I think you've lobbed a couple of shots over at Mitch McConnell and Speaker Ryan in your time. Would you say that now's the time for a hat tip to Speaker Ryan and Mitch McConnell?
Well, there are times when you have to call balls and strikes, and I have to say for Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, I was a staffer with Paul Ryan in the House too many years ago, and I just think they deserve. You can't use big enough and strong enough words to thank them basically for their leadership. This was a very tough thing to negotiate, especially in the Senate. And Mitch McConnell kept his eye on it the whole time. And I am very proud of what they've done.
And also, Dan, Kevin Brady. Yeah. He's been on the show numerous times. The man was under enormous pressure, working 24/7 all the time. And he came through, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be the most patient man in Washington. And there's a model here going forward. Brady talked to everybody. He listened to their ideas. And next year, the Republicans are going to try to do welfare reform. And it's tax reform, the success of this tax bill sits between the failure of the health care bill before it and going forward into welfare. And now they have an idea of how to succeed. And let's hope they can
That's exactly what I was going to say to Dan's point. The pressure was just ratcheted up because of the chaos and the absolute failure of the Obamacare repeal and that whole thing. If they had gotten to the end of this year with nothing accomplished, that would have been absolutely awful for the Republican Party, and I don't know where they could have come back.
Ash is right. The Republicans at that point were acting like cats fighting in a pillowcase. But, you know, right now what's happening is, what is the Democrats' answer to jobs and growth? Now you have Bernie Sanders saying we're going to, you know, campaign against a corporate tax cut. What's happening right at this precise moment is the U.S. economy is growing at double the rate of what it was under Obama. And American families across the country, Democrat families, are saying, we feel abandoned by the Democrat Party. We're the JFK Democrats. We have no home anymore in the Democrat Party, right? So and where do they go? We're talking the Pennsylvania union worker. We're talking the Michigan, Wisconsin teacher, fireman, or cop, seeing their government pensions going up because of the market. Wow. As this tax cut comes at the opportune time for the GOP, as you know, the economy is turning around.
Matt Schlapp, the Democrats voted no about this on a totally universally. It was a no vote. They voted against growth. Look, I said at the top of the hour, that's a lousy strategy going into the 2018 election when you may have an economic boom on your hands. Go.
Yeah, 1980, Reagan got a huge number of Democrats. 1986, Reagan got a huge number of Democrats. George Walker Bush in 2001 and 2003 got a big chunk of Democrats. This is the very first time with such a big tax cut bill that not a single Democrat was willing to put their country over their party to do the right thing for their constituents because they believe in hashtag resistance on everything Donald Trump stands for. I think it's going to be terrible politics, and I think the politics of 2018 just got a lot better for the Republican Party.
Now, granted, this was Congress people doing the signing there, Paul Ryan, Senator Orrin Hatch, but Dan, unmentioned in this signing ceremony was President Trump. You give him some credit for this?
Oh, yeah, I think Trump participated in this, and he pushed it. He leaned on the members of Congress to do this. I don't think they wanted to tag him with a defeat because it would have been a defeat for them as well.
Trump did two things. He said, I'm planting a flag, help the middle class with this tax cut, and it does. Joint Committee on Taxation says it's mostly for the middle class. And number two, cut that corporate rate. And then Trump backed off, and he let the Republicans sort it out. You know, right now what we're seeing is a real shift in the body politic of the Republicans finally coming together and the Democrats grinding and gnashing their teeth.
Hold on a second. On the left-hand side of the screen, we're showing the stock price of Boeing and Embraer. And the headline is Wall Street Journal, takeover talks. Are there takeover talks? Okay. There are talks between from Boeing to take over Embraer for $3.7 billion. That's what we just... OK, we've been showing it on the bottom of the screen. I only just read it. Sorry about that. Boeing is at $297 per share. Embraer is at 24, and that is up about 24%. When the signing ceremony started, the Dow was up 107 points. It ended with the Dow up 110 points. That's where we are now. It's signed, sealed, delivered.
Yes.
Final word, Henninger.
Well, it's a new day. I mean, some of us have been fighting for these sorts of things since the early 1980s, 1986. Remember Congressman Jack Kemp?
Yep.
Excuse me, contribute to this sort of thing. And now the Republicans and Donald Trump do have the wind at their backs. The Democrats are standing on the side saying the polls are against it. Man, I'll tell you, Stuart, that is really a risky strategy to run for 2 years, that the polls are against you.
Matt Schlapp, I know you're feeling pretty good right now, aren't you?
I'm smiling. I'm feeling the Christmas spirit, and what I feel the best about, Stuart, is that Donald Trump ran on doing certain things, and what he's projecting to the American people is that he intends to keep his promises, and I think that is just a great thing for America.
Yeah, fair point. We've got tax cuts in place. ISIS has been defeated, and countless bundles of red tape have been swept away. I'd call those three significant achievements, Lizzie.
Yeah, and you know, if we see 4% growth at any point in the next any quarter, we haven't seen that in 15 years. I have to say it because, again and again, I come from a family, long family of Democrats. They've talked about this at holiday get-togethers all the time. They feel like they don't have a home in the Democrat Party. A lot of them feel like they don't have a home in the Democrat Party anymore. They are the JFK, Bill Bradley, Dick Gephardt, even Joe Biden Democrats. And I say those names. They voted for the Reagan tax cuts. Ted Kennedy voted for the Reagan tax cuts.
Right.
Al Gore did. John Kerry did. Joe Biden did. I think Chuck Schumer did.
And when they've... Sorry, Ash, go.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, the one thing I hope the GOP has learned from this whole process is how to better get their message out. Because when you look at the polls, the majority of people don't like this deal. They should. So that's, I think, a fault of the GOP. They need to do a better job.
Break the monopoly on the establishment media.
Yes.
But that does not include you, young man.
I hope not.
I got to say thank you to Matt Schlapp right there in Washington, D.C. Dan Henninger right here. We appreciate that. Very good stuff. Liz and Ash, as always, thanks for getting... I think it's yet another historic day.
It is.
In